In my speech at the opening ceremony of the event in Marrakesh, I highlighted that education in Brazil is a constitutionally recognized as a right and a responsibility of the state, the family, and the society. It has never been more urgent for these actors to get united to overcome the impacts of the pandemic for the learning of our students and for the future of our countries. Since the edition of Confintea held in Brazil in December 2009, the global scenario has changed significantly. The Belém Framework for Action encouraged us to strengthen public policies aimed at youth and adult education, to increase funding for this area and to strengthen partnerships with multiple actors and sectors. Sequentially, under the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in particular the SDG 4 on quality education, in a post-pandemic scenario, Confintea 7 reinforced the need to boost funding for adult education, develop comprehensive and inclusive literacy policies, support teacher training, engage students in planning and implementing policies and programs. Beyond question, the discussions later reflected in the Marrakesh Framework for Action demonstrated the need to recreate and innovate to overcome the obstacles imposed on humanity that directly affect education. The Marrakesh Framework for Action, therefore, makes commitments to transform the right of lifelong learning into reality. It should be understood as an instrument to guide us in harnessing the transformative power of youth and adult education from a lifelong learning perspective for the achievement of a socially cohesive, rewarding, inclusive, and sustainable future for all. At the conference, the Brazilian delegation represented Latin America and the Caribbean in the drafting committee of the new Framework for Action. This commission was tasked with synthesizing and incorporating the country's suggestions into the preliminary document, giving synergy and coherence to the document that will guide youth and adult education policies around the world for the next 12 years. They also participated in the post-Confintea committee meeting, composed of countries that have hosted Confintea since 1949. On this subject, I would like to welcome Morocco's proposal to encourage the adoption of a forum for consultation with a shorter frequency on an annual basis, aimed to support the effectiveness and participatory implementation of the framework's recommendation. When considering the impact of the COVID pandemic situation, it is essential to recognize the importance of connecting SDG 3, health and well-being, and SDG 4, quality education, integrating youth and adult education and health in policies and sectoral programs. In this regard, the pandemic has drawn additional attention to the need for governments and communities to develop and implement strategies for acquiring knowledge, skills, and competencies, and learning policies that support youth and adults to deal with the effects of this crisis. It is vital, according to this understanding, to build strategies for reskilling and upskilling, which are necessary to meet the changing needs of societies and the world of work brought about, especially by digital transformation. Aware of the learning setbacks, the Ministry of Education of Brazil has focused on the mission of reversing the scenario and leading the country towards the necessary innovations for education. Adult education public comprises people who did not have the opportunity to attend basic education in childhood and adolescence, and who are inserted in the labor market, even informally, or are unemployed. When they return to school, they demand a different curriculum proposal that meets both basic education and professional training for the world of work. It is up to us to make adult education more attractive and connected with professional education. In this sense, Brazilian government prepared a proposal for a lifelong education and learning policy. The initiative arises from the perception of the need to shelter in a normative instrument actions carried out in a dispersed way. The policy encompasses 5 dimensions: flexible, diversified, relevant, and qualified offer. Recognition of knowledge and skills learned in practice. Training of teachers on professional education. Access and permanence strategies. Cooperation with the local productive sector. Given the magnitude of the potential beneficiaries, our policy is being constructed to focus on the most vulnerable population in the context of social and economic changes, and which additionally does not have completed the basic educational level. We've been working in the management and strengthening of this area of education in order to train people for the job market and quality for the workforce, going far beyond literacy. Brazil commits to work closely with those present here to reverse the current scenario in adult education in Latin America and worldwide. I hope we have a fruitful and productive work over the next pre-summit days. Thank you very much. Merci.